For today's show on The Business Connection, we offer you a perspective and experience from a range of guests engaged in access to finance and market activities right here in Zambia. We hope that today's episode will bring you positive insights, useful information, and feel-good stories of so many players engaged in the agribusiness sector. We are thrilled to have in studio both Absa and Zanako for you to hear from them on what they can offer to SMEs this farming season and beyond. Access to finance is key barrier for SMEs. We trust that these institutions have the right products and services for you, dear viewers.
Mr. Jani, could you tell us maybe more about what you're doing as Absa, as a corporate outfit in this case?
Yes, and thank you very much, Kelvin, really. As Absa, we pride ourselves to be a Pan-African bank. You know, we're present in 12 African countries, listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. So really, we understand the African continent very, very well. And we've been obviously in existence for many, many, many years. So as a key partner to most of our valued customers right across the continent. Having said that, obviously, if we're to bring it back home, we obviously have 34 branches. We have 124 ATMs right across the country. And so that speaks to, obviously, the various touch points that we have as a bank to be relevant to our clients, to serve them better, to engage with them better, and so forth. So we are that bank that really is there for them at any given time. So really, we have various products. We have various segments, like you have rightly said, you know, in your preamble, in terms of the way the bank is structured is that you've got business banking, you've got retail banking, you've got corporate banking, and then you've got, obviously, global markets. These are the functional areas where that interact directly with customers on a day-to-day basis. So business banking, for instance, is one where it's a portfolio that looks after agribusiness. We also look after clients that are in the commercial space in various economic sectors. We also look after SMEs, which is a very key component to our ambition to make sure that we are relevant and grow SMEs in our country. And then obviously there is a product house, you know, called Vehicle and Asset Finance. And interestingly also, in the SME space, fairly recently, I think in the last 2 years, we've launched what is called Women in Business, which is an exciting product. And we have seen very good growth in terms of that particular customer proposition and so forth. So we are very relevant, you know, to, you know, the community, to the business environment, and I think we are open to business as Absa.
Fantastic. Okay. Having said that, obviously we know that out of your product portfolio, you must have some preparation around farming and marketing season. Yes. What unique feature do you have, or what offers are you offering to this situation that we're able to see in terms of agri-business? Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, agribusiness, we've been in that segment or sector for a very, very long time as Absa. I think we are the biggest, probably, agribusiness bank in Zambia. Because it cuts across commercial farmers right across the different farming blocks, Mukushi, Kabwe, Mpongwe, Mazabuka, you know, also Choma and so forth. So we have a multi-sector in terms of the various customers that do different things in terms of cropping. They do wheat, they do soyas and so forth. So, but obviously I think that your question is relevant in the sense that we are looking at the smaller end or the emerging farmers that, you know, everybody's excited about, because now we are seeing that the emerging farmers are the ones that are really producing to supplement what commercial farmers, you know, have produced. Typically, they've not played in certain crop production like soya, but now we can see small-scale farmers coming into that space. Maize production is one, again, where most of the maize produced in this country is actually produced by the small-scale farmers. So what we have done, obviously, as a bank is that you realize that this year, obviously, government has brought up what they call sustainable agriculture finance facility, which we are involved in as a bank. And we're very, very excited because I think the farming season is just about. So ours is obviously to participate in there to facilitate small-scale farmers to get commodities like fertilizer or seed for them to, to grow their production. Given the ambition of government, obviously, to move maize production from about 3.2 million tons to about 10 million, tons in the next 3 to 4 years, which is something which is exciting for everyone. So everybody is encouraged, basically, whether you have a 1 hectare, 2 hectare, or 3 or up to 5, jumping into that space, because now agriculture is very, very productive from a maize perspective. So we are involved in that program. Over and above, obviously, we also have been, playing quite heavily in the agriculture value chain, not only crop production, but also in other sectors like value addition for those that are, want to buy commodity and do value addition. So we play quite heavily in that space as well. And you find that typically most of the SMEs are in that space. As you realize, some of the partners that are, behind here, they do a lot of value addition, and we as a bank have been there to support them with various aspects of, financing and so forth. Yeah,
maybe just to that point, what are the requirements which maybe you look at for an agri players to basically qualify what you are offering in the market? Is there any specific model that you have put in place? Yeah,
I think the biggest issue with any business, and it's important that agriculture is also looked at as a business, because I think historically most of the production has been for sustainability as an individual or household. But you find that now, given some of the changes in the dynamics in the economy, the price of maize when it comes to the end of season is good. So the farmer can make money out of it. So it's important that, you look at it from that perspective. But what your question, to be very specific about your question, is that some of the requirements, obviously, because agriculture is not try and error. You need to have experience in it as well, because things do go wrong very quickly. So one of the things that we normally try and do to support some of the emerging farmers is to make sure that we handhold them through training, mentorship, working with partners like USAID Age, to get them to the level where they are ready for access to finance. And sometimes those things might not be a one season, but maybe 2-3 seasons kind of handholding before it gets to financing. But those that are financing ready, we have a checklist. One of the checklists, obviously, is to ensure that they can demonstrate that they've been able to produce, commodity or production over the last maybe a couple of years. We want to understand what is it that they've been growing. The second thing is, obviously, we do encourage farmers to also have a set of, financial statements, to produce financial statements. The reason is very simple, and there's always an argument around financial statements that maybe they are not necessary. But you can imagine that, you're in business and you don't know how you're faring. And then you think that you're making money. And then before long, the business crumbles. So an important indicator or document that will show you how well you are faring in your business is that financial statement. That is always the argument that, I always, give each time there's a pushback around why should we be producing financial statements. It's important that you always look in your rear mirror and see where you've come from, how much money you have made, what are the costs, can you improve on your cost efficiency and so forth, so that you become better and make more money down the line. So that's one of the most important documents that we ask for. The other one is obviously, given that we are also forward-looking into a season, it's always important to project if I plant 1 hectare or 2 hectare or 3 hectare up to 5, you need to know how much money you're going to make. So a projected cash flow of how your income will come, how your expenses will obviously also be met is very, very important, because that's the only way you know whether you have a sufficient cash flow to run your operation down the line. I think key are those documents, but also obviously, typically we always ask for your profile of the business, because sometimes there's new information around how your business is operating, new things that you've brought into your business and so forth. So I'd want to know a little bit more around what is really in your business. So key are those documents that we'll ask for from a banking point of view, and then we should be able to get to a point where we assess and be able to structure the facility that we are looking for.
Fantastic. Okay, so now you mentioned of an aspect to do with partnership, of which I understand that you have strongly worked with the hedge. How have you worked with these projects and other donors, in augmenting aspect to do with the support for credit worthiness in this space? And of course, looking also at the aspect of de-risking in the agricultural space, how have you worked it out?
Yes, we're very proud of the collaboration that we've had with Edge over the last, let me say, maybe is it close to 3 years. Okay. I think the partnership started where we went through a co-creation process to try and find solutions for access to finance to the emerging farmers and obviously the agri value chain. And so far, I think it's been a positive journey in the sense that we've been able to create a pipeline of customers, potential customers who are going through various stages of intervention to try and get them to access financing or capital at the end of the day. So that whole process of engaging has actually been, a good source of information in terms of what can we do to improve and impart the right type of knowledge. For instance, I spoke about, people understanding how to create financial statements. I think typically you find that people have been running businesses for many years, but really they don't know, they've never prepared financial statements. So working with partners like USAID, program, they've been able to sponsor, accountants, let me put it that way, to work with these SMEs to support them create, financial statements. That's one. Then number two, obviously, is the process that I talked about, the co-creation in terms of what do we really want to see in this program. Things like access to finance. It was in that co-creation process that we eventually onboarded or signed up an MOU with DFC of the US about 1.5 years ago. And that was an interesting one in the sense that that entity came to de-risk that portfolio, because I think we went through that co-creation with them to say, what do we really want to see to make sure that it's relevant to the environment at that point in time. And so far, we're going through the process, obviously, of getting customers once they have moved from different buckets, because you will realize that the point that I made, that you don't rush to giving money if a person is not ready with the information. So you have to take them through that whole process. Then there's a second piece, which is obviously making sure that they understand that they are running a business. What does it mean to run a business, especially in that sector? Many people have been in there for a long time, but you find that there are certain things from a governance, from a day-to-day running of a business that probably they've been missing. Then also access to markets are things that we have been able to work with the USAID Age program along the way. And then finally, somebody accesses financing once they are ready through the process itself. So it's been an exciting journey to a large extent from that perspective, yeah.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Jani.
Pleasure.
Dear viewers, we've come to an end of this segment. Please do join us on the next segment as we come with yet another exciting guest. Let's have a word from our sponsor.
Business Connection is excited to next take you to Good Nature Agro for you to learn about their impressive off-takers and outgrower scheme. Please tune in again in January as we take you on a tour of their Lusaka-based operations.
Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much that you have actually been with us. Right into it, we are basically now having a privilege to have a good nature agro, and we are talking to the sales director, who happens to be Susan Chimpandwe Ngombe. Yes. Good evening, madam.
Good evening. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure hosting you.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Could you be in a position to make us understand how the journey has been with Good Nature? Are you able to tell us something about it?
Yeah, I'm actually excited to share our story. So, like you rightly put it, we're a for-profit social enterprise started out of Chipata district here in Zambia, Eastern Province. And 2014, we started with just 40 farmers, and we've grown over the years to reach over 16,000 farmers throughout the country, and we're also working in Malawi. So like you rightly put it, we are a for-profit social enterprise, moving small-scale farmers from poverty into the middle class. And with that, we grow with the farmers through them growing legume seeds as well as commodities. So what we do is we provide markets for both the seed that they grow as well as commodities. We believe that all farmers, regardless of size, commercial or small-scale farmer for that matter, everyone deserves a chance to access markets and premium markets that provide value for whatever they're growing. And with that, we have a goal as a company to have these farmers netting at least $600 per hectare of whatever they are producing. And for now, we are primarily working with legume seeds and commodities, so that's groundnuts, beans, cowpeas, and soybeans. And we're also doing research in other crops like maize, sunflower, and sorghum. So that's our approach to this.
Quite a very interesting component here, centered on legumes. Obviously, that does not need a lot of, fertilizer and other input. Now, are you able to tell us more about your business model in regards to outgrower scheme? Because obviously, that's what is actually underplaying from what I'm understanding in your own explanation. How is your model in terms of your business side?
All right, so as Good Nature, like I mentioned, markets for us are key for any success, be it smallholder or commercial. So we start with identifying markets for whatever commodity or seed that we need these farmers to grow. And we have two sides of the business, two models, if I can call it that. So we have the seed side of the business and the commodity side of the business that we call source. So on the seed side of the business, we have farmers that are grouped to be able to support each other, but to also be supported by what we call a private extension agent, who is he or herself a farmer living in the community and providing trainings to the follower farmers. And for every 10 private extension agents, we have a field supervisor who is a full-time employee of Good Nature Agro, and this particular person is a licensed seed inspector who monitors that the seed grown is grown according to the regulations that the Seed Control and Certification Institute has put in place. Once the farmers have grown, of course, through the season, they are supported, and eventually we as Good Nature buy back the crop they've produced as seed because they grow it following those regulations. And we provide the inputs that they use to grow, including the parent seed that they use for their production. That's on our seed side of the business. And then we have the commodity side of the business, where we work with nearly any farmer that's interested, and of course focusing much on smallholder farmers again. So there as well, very similar model. So we started with the seed side of the model, and we've just adapted to save more farmers. So on the seed, on the commodity side of the business, we have more farmers, up to 100 farmers working under a private extension agent, and we have 800 to 1,000 farmers under a field supervisor. There as well, we're making sure that we are providing the agronomic support that the farmers need. We are providing quality inputs as well as markets at the end of the season.
Oh, quite an interesting stuff here. Okay, obviously, linking to your last point of providing markets and as well as inputs, would you be in a position to tell us what opportunities are there for SME, linking it to GNA? Are you able to highlight or maybe tell the viewers about this scenario?
Sure. So we have been linked to some SMEs under the EDGE project that is being funded by USAID. These are farmers in their nature, so they are SMEs that are linked to farming. They run agro-businesses and they have farmers surrounding them. So they've been able to contract farmers around them, and then source seed from us. And when these farmers buy that seed and other inputs that they need, we are then an off-taker for whatever commodities that they're producing. So we have particular classes of beans and groundnuts that have international demand, mainly in South Africa and Zimbabwe, and so these farmers are able to access these markets as well. So these are the opportunities that farmers that rather SMEs that are linked to farming can tap into and work with us as Good Nature. Okay,
so what do you have for the SME in terms of tips in regards to quality and standard as well as the produce is concerned? Do you have anything that maybe you have specified with your operations?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, we as a company are looking to sell to international markets. We've started with South Africa and Zimbabwe and Botswana as well. But our goal is to get into the European markets. And for us to be able to get into those markets, we obviously have to have quality commodities that are entering this. So it starts with the growing of the crop. So we encourage that the SMEs, follow through with what trainings we offer. They encourage the farmers under them to follow the practices, the good agronomic practices that we advocate for, as well as ensuring that post-harvest handling is properly done, because that's where the losses come in, and they won't be able to get a premium if the quality is not as good as it should be.
Okay, so what is your value proposition in this case, and also linking it to how you work with EDGE project?
Okay, so our value proposition is, look, if you as an SME have farmers that are in close proximity to where you are, you could be an aggregator for us, and as well as an input supplier. So farmers buy inputs from you, and you can then at the end of the season be able to have these farmers bring back the commodity to your location. So you're both an input supplier as well as an aggregator, and you'll be able to make business from both sides of these dealings, both being an input supplier and an aggregator, because we as a company are interested in both sides. So we're encouraging SMEs that have farmers around them to work with us and see how we can help the communities around them grow, especially the farmer that puts in so much work.
So finally, having to have had a number of good stuff that you have mentioned, where can people buy the product, or where can they basically sell the product? Obviously, also how much do you peg some of these products?
Okay, so on the where they can buy, so primarily it's our seed. So we are in, I would say, almost every leading agro dealer shop around the country. And so if a farmer, if an agribusiness wants to get into this, they can visit any of these. And then where they can sell, so again, we encourage farmers to be grouped. So depending on who the lead link is, so if, say, for example, we have an SME that is linked to us through EDGE, so I can't necessarily give, depends on where the farmer is, and there's so many to mention, the channels that we sell through. So if farmers are interested, we'll be able to share details of how we really work, so that they get in touch with well-connected groupings and work through the channels that we operate in.
Thank you so much, Susan, for having time with us. Dear viewers, we have come to an end of this segment. Please do join us on the other side as we take on another segment.
Good evening and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited. I'm in a space where I talk about SMEs all the time, but today I'm talking about agricultural loans, which is something very new to Lupia. So dressed in a farmer hat. So very excited, and thanks for having me.
You're really indeed welcome, and it's actually a pleasure for us to have you here on set. Now, just even before we get dive deep into our discussion, let's understand who Evelyn Kaingu is as the CEO of Lupia, of course.
Layered, right? So very simple girl, like simple things. I'm an economist turned entrepreneur, and so I started Lupia in 2016, and that's what we've done since then. It's really been a journey of building the business, trying to target SMEs, trying to do individual loans at the same time. But really at the core of what we did was SMEs because my husband and I, we are partners in this business, fell on hard times in our previous business, and we thought to come and set out a business that would then champion SMEs, try and bring out emerging SMEs, because the real hard problem that we're trying to solve was access to capital. We didn't meet most of the banking requirements, and so we thought to solution and use alternative data to be able to then extend SME financing. And that's what we've been doing at Lupia, and I am the CEO there, and we're now positioning as a neobank now, and really championing as an entity that's going to champion SME financing in Africa. So we're very excited about that. And the new space we're now entering in, which I'm very a big champion of, is ag loans. And so very exciting. We're looking at 4 value chains that we're looking to pilot. So very interesting times for us. And that's pretty much what we are at Lupia. And that's what I do every single day, just trying to make solutions, create opportunities for SMEs like myself, and hopefully we can create a real impact for individuals and SMEs out there.
Okay, now before we even get to break down these value chains, let's first understand how the portfolio for SMEs look like at Lupia.
So it depends on the time, especially now that it's farming season and we're piloting for the first time. And this would always simply move between 60-40. And by 60-40, I mean it will either move into individual loans or the SME loans and this portfolio. And it would always look like very the trading sector, manufacturing sector, and then every other sector that is sort of in the space, in the SME space. And that's sort of where we've seen a lot of growth and potential areas. But as we've worked with partners like Edge, working on the ICRA Aid One project under the World Bank and now USAID. So it's very exciting times for us to pilot to 100,000 farmers in the next 2 years. And so it's a space where we are now looking at the 4 value chains of how we can extend financing to farmers and how we can really create impact for women and youth. And so there's a very huge target around that. I'm very agnostic to women. So if you knew, we're very centered around women. So we have a special focus vehicle called Lupia for Women, where we intentionally lend to women. And so even in this space, I would like to do the same thing, just really champion females and support the youth as well in this space, because there isn't very so much support, for lack of a better word, for how they can access a lot of information, access to equipment, and just like there's so many variables that are needed for a farmer to get started. And I think as we venture into this space, we're just very excited about ensuring that we can have that portfolio of SMEs and get to that 100,000 mark. So it's very exciting times at Lupia to be here. Very ambitious, but we're very excited about this portfolio specifically.
Okay, just as you mentioned the product for the women, is it just only the women in the agri space, or every other woman out there who's into the SME space?
Yeah, so we're not sector agnostic for specifically, but as we launch a specific agri-loan product, so that will make us or channel us in that direction, but we are open to SMEs. We extend order financing, working capital loans, as well as invoice discounting. And so the agri-loan product is sort of now very open, and looking at how we can sort of position off-takers for farmers as we engage them. Specifically, we're looking at solar irrigation financing, which is a very exciting space. I mean, a lot of farming in Zambia is very rain-fed. And so being able to now channel and bring solar irrigation pumps is very exciting, because we have an abundance of the sun. How can we leverage this for farmers, and how can they leverage this for their crops? So it's very exciting, and yeah, we're looking forward to just really delivering on this particular product.
We so much seeing, or rather talk about the issue of the growth of SMEs in the country, whether in the agri space or just as an SME. How are projects such as the Age and other donors really just working? How are you working with them to make sure that the gap of access to finance is really bridged and people can actually get on board and be a part of this beautiful project?
Yeah. So if I'm going to reference USAID Age, it's really has been around de-risking the finance that we give to SMEs, particularly for Age. They're very agnostic around interest rates, and so really driving down the interest rates for the SMEs. So right now we are also very intentional in that space. One of the things that my partner and I, as we're going on this journey, was to really get to a point where we're going to deliver accessible and affordable products to SMEs. And I think we're on the right path. We're getting there. We have a special promotion right now at Lupia where we're very intentional, and our rates are very low right now for SMEs, and they can get financing for invoice discounting, for working capital, for order financing. And so in the same vein, platforms like this have really helped us look at the credit guarantee schemes that are out there, and really just making those connections to be able to leverage this for SMEs. So it's a very exciting time. Looking at ways in which we've been able to de-risk. Right now we're in talks with Age to see how best we can leverage a zero interest financing product for SMEs. So it's going to be very exciting to really put a product out there that's zero rated for SMEs, and what you basically borrow is what you pay back. And I think it is going to be very redefining for the SME space in Zambia, and so just being part of that process and pioneering such a product in the country is very exciting for us, and it's something that we enjoy doing.
Okay. Obviously, the agri entrepreneurs right there, the youths actually thinking, how do I get on board? Which products am I targeting at Lupia? How can I visit Lupia? Because you're offering so much great products. Let's talk about the deliberate products that you've set aside to say these ones are for SMEs. And if an SME comes on board, whether an agri entrepreneur comes on board, they're just going to feel comfortable and go with it.
Yes. So intentionally, I think the biggest hurdle for every SME, as we've sort of extended financing to them, is collateral. They don't have collateral, and most people are starting out and need the startup capital to do it. And we've sort of found ourselves in a space where we don't necessarily provide the startup capital, but what do we do to then incentivize? Some of the things that we're doing in the new space, as we are also transitioning and looking to be intentional about SME, is setting up an SME innovation hub where we want to provide access to certain services that they can leverage. So be it marketing, financial modeling, because these are the things that you primarily need to be able to satisfy requirements for a financial institution. And so looking at how can we leverage a financial model, a business model that will not require us to look at collateral, but we can look at the performance of the business. We can look at how we can link them to an off-taker to be able to deliver the financing that they need. And so it's a lot of just a lot of product or rather technical support, products that they need, the services that they need to be able to excel or start a business. We will not necessarily come in as the startup financing capital, but we will come in as the bridge finance. And so we are then preparing a lot of SMEs to be able to get to the level of getting the bridge finance and just really leveraging small opportunities. So what you really have is it a shoe that you can sell and then pump into your business, and then eventually move into customer number 10. And then when you get to customer number 20, and then we can come in with a bridge finance. And so we just really want to see a lot of skin in the game for SMEs. And so therefore, we are tailoring products that don't require collateral. So we're looking at receivables now to be able to leverage that. We're looking at partners like USAID Age, ICRA, who are already training SMEs. This would be She Trades, this would be WEAC. They're already training a lot of SMEs, and just really looking at those business models and seeing how best we can leverage and support with bridge financing and get them to a stage where they can leverage working capital.
We know that the Age project has a number of SMEs. Can we know the ones that are really, really on the lookout for this time? Because we're in the farming season. So can the SMEs be told right now to say, look, if you're in the agri space, if you're doing this, you're welcome. And I would just like you to take this opportunity to look in the camera and speak to the SMEs, especially those in the agri space.
So in the agri space specifically, so we're very excited about the specific value chains that I just highlighted, which would be aquaculture, horticulture, which is asset financing for the solar irrigation pumps. And then we are looking at, did I mention horticulture already?
Yes, you did.
Yes, so aquaculture, horticulture, legume farming, specifically to maize, specifically to soya beans. And so just very excited about providing access to finance in that space. So we're running a pilot, looking at really extending this financing to farmers, specifically to women and youth. So really excited about women accessing these products and learning more about these products. And we are excited about providing this information to yourselves. And we can extend financing all the way up into 1 million kwacha. So very excited about that. And we can also extend very low to as little as 500 kwacha. And so very excited for farmers to be able to leverage this. We're very agnostic to the really small SME and specifically women. So I'm really excited about this farming space and getting into this space and supporting farmers.
Make me feel like I'm missing out on a lot of things.
I hope so. So
that I can rush.
Yeah, no, exactly. and if we can deliver a valuable product for farmers, then it's an exciting time for us.
Well, we really appreciate you doing a whole lot for the SMEs in the agri-space as well as just the SMEs at large. And we appreciate that you're contributing to the growth of SMEs in Zambia.
Thank you so much. And thanks for having me and for USAID Age for all the support that they give. So very excited about that zero-rated financing facility.
Yes,
and if
please.
we can roll that out, very optimistic about the first quarter of next year that it can happen. And so this is for SMEs purely. And I'm an SME champion and specifically for women. So very excited about this space and being able to do this.
Indeed, we are trying to give you solutions to all the challenges that you have been talking about. USAID Age is a program that has just brought to you nothing but the very best of information as well as giving you solutions. Enough of looking at the problems, enough of looking at the challenges that you're facing. You want solutions? This is a show that you need to watch. This has been The Business Connection, and of course I've been your host, Rebecca Gombe. Do remember, we were live on your Top Star Decoders channel 95 and also streaming live on Facebook. We are Millennium TV Zambia, and this particular edition was proudly sponsored by the USAID Age Project. And now, we will be hearing from 260 Brands on their business model and visit their factory to get a glimpse into their operations and the wonderful products they make. Every week, we will feature SMEs and take a tour of their facilities for you to seek inspiration from.
Welcome back. We are now getting into yet another exciting moment where we are featuring Ethel Mwambazi, who's coming from 260 Brands, who happens to be the Marketing and Public Relations Manager. Good evening, and how are you?
Good evening, I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Very fine. Thank you so much that you have spared time with us. Well, I want to get right into it. Would you be in a position to tell us more about the 260 Brands, how you started and where you have come from up to this moment?
Thank you for having me tonight, Kelvin. 260 Brands is an African consumer goods manufacturer based right here in Lusaka, Zambia. We commenced our operations 26 years ago, and since then we've been making various products that we've been distributing in Zambia and most recently in other markets like South Africa and Ethiopia. Our company name, 260 Brands, is derived from the Zambian country code +260. And our value chains are predominantly maize and soya, which we source locally.
Oh, fantastic. So understanding that you are promoting organics and others want to know what could have been the reality or modality around this. Could you please help us to understand why this is important to you?
So firstly, organic farming protects the environment. And secondly, we believe that we can empower smallholder farmers by passing back a premium from our sales.
How do you work with projects such as Hedge project?
We work with the USAID Edge project by raising capital. For example, currently, We have received support to expand our processing capacity by raising capital from development finance institutions.
So what opportunities are available for SME, and what tips should you tell the SME to engage with the 260 brands?
Our distribution model leaves nobody behind. We cater not only for stores in the modern trade such as your ShopRites, but we provide for individuals who own Ntembas and other small stores. We also provide distribution from Lusaka all the way into these Ntembas. So SMEs and individuals interested in registering as suppliers can contact us in any of our offices. In Lusaka, we are located within the Chinika area, and we also have offices and presence in Kabwe, in Kitwe, Kasama, and Chipata.
Thank you so much for being with us.
It's been a pleasure, thank you.
Dear viewers, let's get to the next segment. Thank you so much.
Welcome to 260 Brands. Today I'll take you through some of our amazing and tasty plant-based beverages. At 260 Brands, our value proposition is nutrition, health, and taste. All our beverages here and our products are plant-based, with the primary ingredient being soybeans as well as maize. I will run you through the brands that we have in our beverage category. I will begin with Nutra Milk, which is our plant-based milk. It's available in a Tetra Pak, but it's also available in pouches in all leading retail outlets, as well as wholesale stores. To start with, I will show you our Nutra Milk Soya Organic Milk. It's available in a 1 liter Tetra Pak package. We also have soya and sweetened milk. It's available in 1 liter as well as 500 ml Tetra Pak and pouches. Other than that, we have other flavors being soya unsweetened, soya sweetened, soya chocolate, and soya strawberry. We also have soya active milk, which is available in a 250 ml pouch pack. So our products are very affordable, and you can actually buy this pack at 3 kwacha 99 kwacha in most retail outlets. Prices range, of course, and we have something for everyone. Our other plant-based beverage is NutraSip, and I must say that NutraSip is Africa's first ever soy juice blend. So we're the first in Africa to manufacture a soy juice blend, and in this category we have 4 different flavors. We have mixed fruit, peach, orange, and pineapple. This particular beverage is also available in Tetra Pak and in pouches. Thirdly, I'll also show you what is our Seba's Tobwa. Previously, it was available in a powder form, Seba's Instant Tobwa, and now we've evolved to create a ready-to-drink plant-based beverage. So the primary base here is maize, and our Seba's Tobwa is available in a 500 ml Tetra Pak. The products can also be purchased in bulk from any of our offices in Lusaka, in Kawe, in Kitwe, in Kasama, and in Chipata.
Welcome back, dear viewers. Thank you so much that you've stayed tuned with us. At this particular point, we have actually gone into yet another segment where we have been privileged to have somebody coming from Zanaco, and this is no other than Mr. Cheiwe Mwanechanya, who is actually head of agriculture banking. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, thank you. It's a pleasure to have me on this program.
We understand very well that Zanaco has been offering services in the financial sector for some time. Could you tell us how the SME portfolio is looking like?
Yeah, so particularly maybe if I may speak for the SME portfolio for agriculture banking, we do have in excess of 2,500 accounts.
Oh, fantastic.
In that space. So it's and also supporting various sub-sectors in the agriculture sector. We do have customers that are in horticulture, that are growing soybeans, that are growing maize, or if I may call cereals, or grains. we've got customers that are also running agribusinesses that support farmers. So it's a diverse portfolio and present almost in every part of the country. As you know, Zanaco is present in almost every province and in most of the districts of Zambia. So we do support various SMEs. Our definition of SMEs in our space is businesses of turnover between 1 million to 10 million kwacha, and that's what we define SMEs.
Oh, fantastic. Looking at the portfolio of SME that you have mentioned, how are you trickling down to agriculture support in terms of finance as Zanaco?
Yeah, first of all, Zanaco, we've been in the market or in Zambia for some time, and we've grown over time expertise in terms of how we support businesses, including SMEs. We are well segmented to support businesses across what you call the entire agriculture value chain. So we don't just support one segment of the value chain. We support, if the farmers do need support from the input service providers, we fully understand how we can position those businesses to support SMEs. We support businesses that provide markets to the farmers by empowering them with the necessary products and services to support the farmers. So in our quest to support farmers, we're working across the entire value chain, but also zeroing into the farmers. We support them with various products and services. If they need, for example, to buy equipment to increase their production, we're able to finance their equipment. We're able to, for example, help them purchase tractors and other supporting implements. We're able to support them acquire, processing equipment. We've seen some of them, for example, small businesses that started small by just, looking after dairy animals, have gone into processing of, milk and yogurt. So they have come and supported them with the equipment to be able to do that. We're also supporting them with the acquisition of property. For example, some of them may want to purchase a farm, or they may want to purchase a piece of land or building in order for them to do their business. We do support, and also irrigation equipment and other supporting accessories to help them be able to irrigate their crop and mitigate some of the risks that come if you are farming and depending on the rain. They are also supporting working capital solutions and products. They can access invoice discounting, order finance. It does happen, for example, as an SME, that you've been given an order to be able to supply maybe maize, to be able to supply soybeans, to be able to supply beans to a reputable institution. We are able to provide finance by you being able to access what we call order financing. We also discount invoices. We also know that in some cases the cycle of you getting paid may be longer. We can shorten that working capital gap by being able to discount your invoice. So our support is beyond also just financial services. We realize that some of the SMEs do need investment in order for them to be ready to access financing. We think that's a sustainable way. So we do support businesses also by providing linkages to partners that are able to provide, for example, business development services, so that they are able, for example, to plan for their business, be able to understand what they're doing, and be able to make them commercially viable or investment ready, as it were, and be able to meet their obligations.
Okay, having said that, you always create a partnership of some sort, and also going an extra mile, having NANI branded financial aspect or solutions. In terms of partnership, again, at a point of maybe creating that synergetic fusion with some other stakeholders, like in the case of Hedge and yourselves, we've heard something that is very common, which people are hearing of Z banking. Could you highlight some few things about it, or can you tell us more about this Z banking?
Yeah, so Z Women Banking is a women banking proposition that Zanaco has developed. We've been serving women, I think, for onset, but we also realized that this is one, segment that is underserved, and also they need specialized products and services. So we came up with this proposition to be able to support women, and first of all we developed a product such that a woman-led business or a woman majority shareholding, as it were, can be supported to be able to have access to finance. We are helping them by also getting non-financial services. We realize that business needs much more than just finance. So we also are able to provide linkages. We have provided linkages, for example, to capacity build them, in terms of market development, in terms of being able to make their products export ready, because as you know, also to make products be able to be exported requires certification process. So we're able to link them to various organizations that can help them do that. Z Women Banking also, we went further beyond just the product, but also lessened some of the barriers we noted were kind of inhibiting women-led businesses and generally women to have access to finance. Things, for example, like collateral. It's a topic or issue that often is mentioned in the financial circles, that one of the things that inhibits most small businesses, and particularly women and youth, is that they do not have access to land or they do not have access to collateral. So we relaxed some of the conditions. We actually went ahead and kind of relaxed the conditions. So businesses, for example, can apply a minimum of less than 500,000 kwacha without even collateral. They can apply, and it's something we've done already. So it's not something that is rhetoric we keep singing, but we've done it. We've supported business that are led by women be able to access that. We also don't demand things. For example, we've often also had issues that banks demand audited accounts. Banks, require certain, financials to be prepared. And for small businesses, that may pose as a cost to them just to be able to prepare that and be able to have access to finance. So we've come up with also in a way like that we can support businesses like that. And we also try to link them, to various markets that, for example, we can rely on anchors in value chains that we think are viable, and the demands, for example, of the requirements may be less and less. We've also got a proposition for insurance, which is a risk mitigation. We also do realize that when you're doing business, there's a possibility that there's a risk that probably you incur, and that cannot be maybe mitigated by only finance, but insurance can kick in. So there is a special package for women-led businesses under the Z Women Banking proposition to be able to access, insurance products and services. Yeah.
Okay, finally, Mr. Mwenichanya, what would you tell the SME? Why should they able to consider Zanaco when it comes to the aspect of finance, especially during the farming and marketing season? And also, what basics should they look at in terms of modality for them to be financed?
Yeah, why should they come to Zanaco? One is that Zanaco understands agriculture. Okay. This is one sector that you need to partner with a bank that understands what they're doing, because agriculture can be risky, and if you in itself, because you depend a lot on other factors that are outside your control. So what you don't want to have also is a bank that doesn't understand what they're doing, because that can be an added risk. So you should be able to come to Zanaco because Zanaco understands agriculture. We are also present in almost every part of this country. So that means that we can support you wherever you are. And Zanaco also is I would fairly say that we have the heart for Zambia. We've got a passion to be able to develop this. We call Zambia is a home. We've got a passion to be able to support this country. We believe that when we invest in our customers, we also invest in our communities. We're also investing in our country. So come and feel free. The doors are open. Zanaco is your home. And knock, and we should be able to receive you and support you and with your business.
Thank you so much for having this moment with us. Dear viewers, we've reached another end of this program. Join us on the other side as we come with yet another exciting guest. I'll wait from a sponsor, please.
Up next, we are featuring a youth-owned business establishing herself as a serious competitor in the animal feed sector. Her story is inspiring. Please stay tuned.
Thank you so much that you have continued joining us on this program. We welcome you back. This time around now we've just go straight into something that's very special, and we are basically joined by Inote Cheta, who is coming from Wharton and Cobbs. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Kelvin?
Thank you so much. I'm good.
Thank you for having me on your program.
Sure. Well, just want to explain a bit of what you're doing. Obviously, we'll just give a snapshot of what your company does. Then we get into some questions. Wharton and Cobbs is a youth enterprise that prides itself in innovating affordable feeding solutions for farmers. The business manufactures poultry feed and concentrates and custom mixtures for farmers. Perhaps could you highlight what you do? Obviously, we know from what we are talking of, but from the horse's mouth, how can you describe of what you are offering?
Okay. So Wharton and Combs basically focuses, we're very different in the sense that we focus on rural farmers, so animal nutrition for rural farmers, which I don't think there's any company right now that solely focuses on that. And for us, it's very important to have that focus because the rural farmers are sort of neglected. Nobody's really out there trying to help them. And we particularly focus on improved breeds. So I always like to joke and say, you find in the village, if you find your grandmother has 5 chickens, next year she'll still have 5 chickens, and the next year 5 chickens, because nobody's really teaching people how to grow their yields and what sort of breeds, even within the village chicken itself, can actually ensure multiplicity. So we go into rural communities, we teach farmers about the different breeds that are available, and also what they can do to ensure that they have food security for themselves, but also make money by selling to other people.
Fantastic. Okay. Seem to have vibrant spirit around this.
Yes, we do. We are very passionate about it.
Okay, that's good. Okay, just now give us a model. How your product are in comparison to the competition out there. What makes your product better than the competitors?
Like what I just mentioned is that our focus is only on rural farmers. Most of the brands on the market focus on commercial farmers or small-scale farmers, but for us, if you notice even how we distribute our products, we go deep in rural areas. We're currently distributing in 7 out of 10 provinces of Zambia. We are listed in livestock, both in Lusaka and Mazabuka. As you know, livestock is the largest agro-dealer in Zambia, and really we look at how do we help the small agro-dealer in Chinga, the small agro-dealer in Mongu who wants to help people in their community and things like that. So you find in our model we mostly work with women agro-dealers, which we're very proud of. We also work a lot with youth agro-dealers as well.
Fantastic. So as a youth enterprising and vibrant entrepreneur, what really tips can you give to the youth out there who would want to maybe venture into business and want to thrive?
Entrepreneurship, number one, is not for everyone. I think that's something that people need to accept because it's hard. If you look at how, say for instance, this year in Zambia, we've had fuel prices changing all the time. We've had the dollar going up and a lot of things that can be very discouraging. So being consistent, remembering your why. For us, our why is the rural farmers. We want to ensure food security. But also very important is that be part of networks. For instance, like USAID Edge, that costs no money but comes with so many benefits. It's very important for youth to be associated with such networks.
Fantastic. Okay. Tell us more about what other thing that you think would be more important. Obviously, looking at how certain enterprising aspects are happening in the country. Of course, mirroring to SME. When it comes to women support, how are you looking at it?
Okay, so beyond this, I mean, I'll give my personal story. I was working in corporate and I stopped to pursue this full time, and I actually realized that there was this gap in terms of where to get information resources or just a network for women who are in agribusiness, and that's how I started Women in Agribusiness, which USAID has been part of, and we're very grateful for that. So one thing I would advise youth is don't work in silos. Find people in your network who are actually doing what you're doing. So I'm in agribusiness. I want to talk to somebody who is keeping chickens, but also somebody who is in crop and things like that, because then you understand where the market is going and what's happening on the ground. So being part of networks is very, very important for youth. There are lots of opportunities in terms of business. Yes, we have challenges, like I mentioned the previous challenges, but sometimes being part of networks helps you have that peer-to-peer mentorship that keeps you going.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure.
Thank you, dearest viewers, for tuning in to another episode of The Business Connection. We hope that you have learned from and appreciated our guests as much as we have. Business Connection has great things coming up in 2024 for all our viewers. We will kick off the new year with insightful interviews with the National Advisory Board for Impact Investments, Umino Community Loan Services, as well as new product placements and site visits to innovative Zambian SMEs and financial institution partners. We will also launch the USAID video series in style and with special guests. Have a blessed rest of 2023 and see you on the other side in 2024. Tune in to Business Connection for a dose of SME profiles, agribusiness tips, entrepreneurial success stories, and amazing ideas for your own business journey. Zikomo, our faithful viewers, and Happy New Year.